Did you know that Starlink, a satellite network developed by the private spaceship company SpaceX, has exceeded 1 million active subscribers barely 2 years after its initial exclusive beta release? SpaceX, in full, Space Exploration Technologies Corporation, has attracted attention on a global scale for several significant achievements. To provide high-speed internet anywhere on the planet, SpaceX started launching functional Starlink satellites in 2019. 3 years and a little over have passed since the company successfully executed more than 3,600 Starlink satellites. About 3,000 are currently active and ready to launch for its customers. SpaceX has been able to greatly expand the number of active customers it can service thanks to this network growth, which is unique in the history of spacecraft, and created a satellite network that is a magnitude bigger than the next biggest. During an all-hands meeting, Elon Musk, the CEO of SpaceX, said that Starlink internet from SpaceX had almost 500,000 users. In just 6 months, according to SpaceX, that number had doubled to more than 1 million customer bases, which means an average of 2,600 new subscribers every day throughout the second quarter of 2022. It's more than 750,000 subscribers in the past 9 months. You might not be as familiar with SpaceX's massive project, which seeks to provide internet access to everyone on the Earth using an expanding constellation of private satellites circling overhead. Let's see how SpaceX accomplished this and get more intriguing details about SpaceX's Starlink satellites. If you find the video interesting, do not forget to hit the like button and subscribe to our channel to engage with more interesting videos. Also, do not forget to press the bell icon to get our new video updates. Let's go to the video. The launch of the SpaceX Satellite Development Facility in Washington and the announcement of SpaceX's billion-dollar satellite venture, trademarked as Starlink, took place in 2015 January. At this opening, Elon Musk, chief engineer and CEO of SpaceX, declared that there is still a significant unmet need for inexpensive broadband capabilities, and that Starlink is aiming to provide enough capacity to carry up to 50% of all backhaul communications traffic. In densely populated locations, up to 10% of local web traffic is. Musk's official estimate of the number of satellites quickly increased as he planned to get access to a $1 trillion share of the worldwide internet connectivity market to his ultimate vision of Mars colonization. After that, SpaceX has been given authorization by the Federal Communications Commission of the U.S. to launch 12,000 satellites, and the company submitted papers to a global authority to launch up to 30,000 more spacecraft. Based on the information by the European Space Agency, by November 2022, total of 14450 satellites have been launched throughout the time, and 6,800 of those are still in operation. On 23 May 2019, a Falcon 9 rocket of SpaceX sent the first 60 Starlink satellites into orbit. The satellites, fortunately, achieved their 340-mile operating height, which is 550 kilometers. Approximately 2,500 Starlink satellites have been launched by SpaceX thus far, and it intends to launch and establish thousands more in the future. The satellite system now has 36 countries as subscribers, and by 2023, it hopes to expand to the majority of Africa, Asia, and the Middle East. Around the world, the service is accessible, including most of Mexico, Canada, the United States, the Caribbean, Brazil, Chile, portions of Western Europe, New Zealand, Japan, and Australia. Also, this is accessible in several of the world's most distant locations, including Antarctica. For other countries such as Spain and Italy, Starlink offer choices for requesting service in pre-order agreements. What is the price of Starlink? Currently, the company increased the options for Starlink service. The monthly base service fee for Starlink is $110, minus the $599, which is the upfront price for the hardware. For premium users, it costs $500 as a monthly fee, plus a hardware cost of $2,000. Lately, the company has also included a $25 monthly portability cost for customers who reposition their satellite antenna. For an internet connection that is not even close to as fast as a fiber connection, $110 for a month might be a lot to pay. Musk, though, believes that the expense will be worthwhile for those who have previously gone without access to a good network connection. Also, Starlink was praised by both the Pentagon in the United States and the Ukraine military. Why? According to Ukrainian soldiers, Starlink has aided in keeping in touch with citizens with their families and military outposts throughout the Russian-Ukraine war. It is said that when Russia attacked Ukraine's communication networks, Starlink was very helpful. Vice Prime Minister of Ukraine, Mikhailo Fedorov, requested Musk to supply Starlink terminals to his country. As a response, SpaceX delivered 15,000 Starlink internet packages within 4 months of time. During the 36th Annual Space Symposium in 2021, Gwen Shotwell, SpaceX's chief operating officer, announced that starting that year, all satellites of Starlink will be outfitted with laser crosslinks that allowed for inter-satellite communication. As a result, less dependence is placed on ground stations, and communication will happen across Starlink satellites within a network. Since there is no need to transmit the signals to a ground-based internet network, these laser linkages enable internet traffic to be shared globally among satellites. Also, because of these links, the Starlink structures can beam internet access to the most distant areas, including polar regions. Starlink has taken various measures. Did you know that FIFA hosted a promotional payload that included a box powered by Starlink carrying 2 Adidas Al Rihla balls that were to be used in the FIFA World Cup in Qatar in 2022? SpaceX collaborated with Qatar Airways and FIFA on a Falcon 9 flight. The mission, Eutelsat Hotbird 13F, was initiated in October 2022. These balls were released and returned by landing on the drone ship and weathering the booster's shocks. They were taken down and transported back to Qatar in time for the World Cup. This demonstrated the simplicity of reusability, as it was the first payload to be launched on a Falcon 9 launcher. Part of SpaceX's launch of the balls was intended to advertise its Starlink satellite internet service. Visitors to the World Cup were encouraged to the Starlink office in Doha through a related website. Hughes Network, one of the top global providers of broadband satellite services, can be introduced as SpaceX's main competitor in the United States. It has somewhat fewer than 1.3 million users. According to Cloudflare stats, just 50% of Starlink's far larger global client base is based in the United States. Shows that SpaceX has over 40% as many users after only 2 years of supplying its service. As we showed before, such an increase since March 2022, an average of 250,000 new customers each quarter, is the exact reverse of what practically every other satellite internet provider has been facing, with most of them rapidly losing users rather than getting them. What's next? SpaceX is anticipating the launch of its enormous Starship rocket for the second generation of Starlink. Starship is intended to be the most potent launch space shuttle ever built, and the first with complete reusability. Elon Musk stated that Starship is required to launch Starlink Gen 2. A date for Starship's launch into space has not been disclosed by SpaceX. Musk provided some further information about the Gen 2 Starlink satellite, saying that it is 7 meters long and 2,755 pounds in weight. In contrast, the most recent Starlink satellites weigh just about 1/6 as much and can be sent into orbit using SpaceX's more compact Falcon 9 rocket. According to Musk, the Falcon 9 lacks both the volume and the ability to launch Starlink's Gen 2 orbiting satellites. He stated that compared to current generation Starlink satellites, the Gen 2 satellites, also known as Starlink 2.0, will be nearly an order of magnitude more capable. For Starlink's Gen 2 platform, SpaceX recommended and suggested design will accommodate close to 30,000 satellites in orbits as high as 614 kilometers and as low as 340 kilometers. Do those satellites have access to our home internet networks? Yes, setting up a tiny satellite dish at your house to take in the signal and transfer the bandwidth to your router is all that is required to establish the connection. The company provides a number of mounting solutions for yards, rooftops, and the outside of your home. Even a Starlink app for Android and iOS exists to assist users in choosing the ideal location and orientation for their antennas. Currently, just a few areas in the US, Canada, and internationally provide Starlink service, but the company currently counts close to 500,000 users and operates on every continent. As more satellites join the constellation, anticipate seeing the coverage map expand. Starlink aspires to provide a usable, high-speed Wi-Fi signal that can be used for in-flight and moving vehicles to eventually cover the entire globe. That's about today's video. With 1 million subscribers, SpaceX is directly equivalent to organizations that have been providing satellite internet for decades, barely 2 years after its initial product. What is your opinion about the Starlink satellite network by SpaceX? Share your thoughts in the comments section. Please click the like button if you enjoyed the video. Thank you for watching. See you in the next video.